Cool. Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for showing up for Access Tools in Action, a series of videos that we are doing with all our different Access tools that we have. We're going to do a little explanation of each tool in each video and why we love them and how we use them. And I'd like to introduce all the people that are playing with me on this video. And if I can start with Lara, please. Name and where you're from.
Hi everybody, my name is Lara Corsten. I'm from Sundowner in Randburg in South Africa, and my favorite personal tool is All of Life Comes to Me with Ease and Joy and Glory, but I know we're talking about the Pock and Pod, and I've been using it extensively during this lockdown period. I find it extremely liberating, and the way that just by saying that statement can change the energy instantaneously is just, it's really mind-blowing, and the stuff really, really, really works.
Yeah. The key is to use it though. Cool.
Absolutely. But I'm finding, you know, my family, those that weren't, you know, that they get a little bit strange when I say, you know, the whole clearing statement. I find even them now in conversation, when something comes up that rocks their will, that comes out of their mouth, and then everything.
Cool, thank you. Jules?
Hi everyone, my name is Joel, South Africa, and I use the tools on a daily basis. Heavy, which we're not discussing today. Through that tool, I've found that practice, the more you practice these tools, the better they use extensively. I absolutely love it. I really made some fun, as well as my horses, as well as my clients. Tools, they really are some of my favorite ones, and let everybody else try them out as well.
Awesome, thank you. Mark and Sarah, where are you guys?
Mark Cloutier.
Sarah Wadsworth. And
we're
we're
Randburg, Johannesburg. And then the baton I leave to Sarah.
Because I'm not the talker, Marcus. So he likes doing this to me and putting me under pressure. I'm the shy one. And what was it Gary was saying? I'm the silent bulldozer. What else were we supposed to say about it? I actually work for a corporate company. Mark
worked for a corporate company.
And was retrenched, and now he's on the route to CF, or the path to CF. Path, yes.
We've both been involved with Access for Sarah the year.
March.
Me a little bit less than a year, from July last year. And all I can say is life-changing.
Yeah.
All the tools are great. I don't have a specific one I like most. I've had experiences up until last night after the SC with entities that were unbelievable. It was a conversation with Rose this morning. You could see her smiling. So yeah, every single day just brings a new experience and something new and fantastic about Access. So,
yeah. So much more awareness.
Yeah, there's way more to life than we ever thought, right?
Yeah.
Now we start taking our blinkers off. Now we can see a lot more and be aware of a lot more.
Yeah, wide angle view, not sitting like this.
Yeah. And if you told me last March this is what Mark would be doing, I would have told you a lie. You would lie. Never ever saw that coming.
Yeah.
I walk around the house saying, all of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. And he used to just watch, and then all of a sudden I was going, I'm going to do my bars. And it has.
Yeah.
And I think the universe is for a reason. As hard as it, gave you a big old kick in the bum.
The amazing part is, just to add one last bit, is with learning bars and learning facelift and that whole retrenchment process, what normally would have actually put me down in the dumps and depressed did very little. Process easier. So yeah, access and bars and facelift and foundation and every single step I'm going through is we'll keep right now.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Rose, you're next on my screen. We're going in order of the screen.
Cool. Hi, everybody. So, and I do bars, house clearings, and facelift. My favorite tool at the moment is Interesting Point of View. There are many. I like one, and yeah, that's it.
Oh, thank you. Judy.
Hi everyone, my name's Judy. I'm in Cape Town. I had heard about bars. I'm fairly new to it. I had heard about it quite a while, and then Mark ran my bars for the first time. And then when I moved to Cape Town, I found a lovely lady, and she's been teaching me a lot. There's still so much I have to learn, but I have to say I use the clearing statement such a lot, even before all this lockdown stuff. I used it a lot. It got me through some very difficult times over the Christmas period, and I just love the whole everything about bars. But I'm still learning, and my learning curve is perpendicular right now.
Cool, thank you. Naz.
Hi, everybody. My name is Nasreen. I am from Gaborone, Botswana. I did my first bars class in 2012, incidentally, with Jenny Watkins. And there was so much shift and change. The clearing statement was like mind-blowing then, still is mind-blowing now because I find it works awesome. There was a lot of change, and then in the first 6 months or so I didn't really use my tools, and when I found it was in this down place, I decided, listen, I learned, I paid for this course, let me go back to it. And since then there has been no looking back. It just is absolutely a magic wand. All the tools are fantastic, and this clearing statement is like a go-to magic wand for anything and everything, no matter how big or small. So I'm so grateful for Access Consciousness, for Jenny showing up in my life, and for having just this phenomenal tool, these phenomenal tools show up. Thank you.
Thanks, Naz. So I'm gonna, yeah.
Can I make 2 comments quickly?
Sure.
Nazreen, nice to meet you. Fantastic article in the newspaper. And Laura, I'm jealous. Your mug is bigger than mine.
Cool. Oh, okay. I'm not even going to go there. That's like, okay. So I know I'm going to say this correctly and pronounce it incorrectly. I'm so sorry, but Chin Chin, you're next. please say your name online for us so we can hear it. It's so beautiful.
My name is Gcina Sheganga, and I like to be called Gcin, as Jenny just attempted. I'm in South Africa, Centurion. I did my bars class in December, so I find myself forgetting and tripping back and forth, but I keep coming back because there was something that touched my heart after doing the class. One of my favorite tools is the restoration of communion with earth tool. I've managed to keep to that one every morning, and yeah. Thank you. I'm excited about these classes. When I saw the invitation, this is sent for me because I thought this was the time I go back to my bars manual and read and put a program together that makes sure that I build these into my daily habits. Thank you.
Thank you. Dale. You're up.
Morning, everybody. I'm Dale. I'm from Cape Town. Thank you. It's been wonderful listening to what everybody has to say, and everything that everybody has to say, yes. And for me, what I found so amazing with these tools, and I have been using them for quite some years now, is that there's never, it just never ends. There's always something. As with life, there's always something that comes up. And for me, what is so brilliant about these tools that we have is that there is always a tool for whatever one is experiencing or going through in one's life. There's always a tool. And for me, that has just been a joy. We all have our moments, yes, but my goodness, when I consider what is happening now, I am forever grateful that I have these tools. And to Gary and Jane and to everybody who's been out there and been so amazing and letting people know what is happening in the world with a different possibility. So for me, yeah, you know, and tools, so many wonderful tools. And yes, the Pod and POC and restoration and interesting point of view, these are all amazing tools that give a different possibility when you think, God, what else? What's happening? And you use a tool and it just like whoosh, and there's space. So for me, that is the joy of all these tools. So thanks very much, and thanks to Jenny for having this. This is awesome. So looking forward to this. Thanks, guys. Sorry, I'm busy walking.
Dale's doing her sneaky walk to the shop. She buys a packet of sugar one day and a lemon the next, and then she finds an excuse every day to walk. Cool. Okay, so thank you, everybody. I'm so grateful that you've been willing to contribute to this video. And yes, we have a lot of tools with Access Consciousness, and they all work in different ways, and we have our favorite ones and our go-to ones. But today I would like to chat about the Access Consciousness clearing statement. So just for people who are new to this video, who are going to watch it online, Access Consciousness is a movement that has been started by a gentleman called Gary Douglas about 30 years ago. And basically he has just over the last 30 years been aware of so many different things and ways to empower people to know that they know. And he has created all these tools for us to use. And the person that works with him, his name is Dr. Dane here. And so between Gary and Dane, they come up with all this amazing stuff. There's a lot of classes and intros and things that you can watch online. If you search on YouTube for Gary or Dane or Access Consciousness, you will find a lot of free things available. So you actually could probably find all the tools for Access online for free. So there's never really any excuse for not being able to change any area of your life. If you're willing to find the tool and use it, you can change anything. It's really, we're very grateful that Gary and Dane are willing to do this. Anyway, so today we're going to talk about the Access Consciousness Clearing Statement. And when I first got introduced to Access, after I had my bars run the first time, and we will explain Access bars, or you can look on the Access Consciousness website to get more information about that. The one thing that stood out for me in that class was the clearing statement. That was actually the thing that hooked me in the beginning. At the time, I was a breakthrough facilitator, and there was a couple of things that I was aware of, and I just like got, oh, the clearing statement is that piece that can change things for people. So it does sound quite weird. And when I started introducing the clearing statement to people in 2011, if I'd had a camera to take a photograph of people's faces, I wish. It was like so funny when you said the clearing statement and people's eyes like used to get so big and they're going, what the hell are you talking about? What I find now is when I talk about the clearing statement, people don't even bat an eyelid, which is quite interesting to just show how we have evolved and shifted and changed over the years. But anyway, so it sounds like this. So you pretty much will go, everything that brings up, times by a godzillion, I destroy and uncreate it all. Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all 9, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Now, yes, it sounds really strange, but here's what happens, is when you either align and agree or resist or react to something, you put a charge on it. And when you put a charge on something, what happens is you keep creating from that charge, because energy goes where energy is. So if you're focused on something, trying to prove something is right or wrong or good or bad, that is the thing you're either going to prove or try to avoid. Now, it doesn't really matter whether you're trying to prove it or avoid it. The thing is that your charge is on that, and that's actually what shows up ultimately. So they say what resists persists, and that's the reason why, because you're trying to avoid something that you think is bad or wrong, and that thing keeps showing up. So to give you a quick example, I actually had quite an awareness a couple of days ago about anger. And what I hadn't realized is how much anger was still running through my life. Now, I've been clearing for years. So for me to still have anger showing up for me was quite interesting. But what I hadn't realized was a few things. One, I grew up in the energy of anger. I grew up in a household where there was a lot of anger. So in a way, you kind of adopt that, and you become that because you think that anger is actually normal. You don't realize when you grow up in an angry household that it's actually not normal to be angry all the time. So Gary and Dane talk about it as if you grow up in carrot soup, you become a carrot. You think you're a carrot. You don't become a carrot, sorry. You think you're a carrot. You think you're orange. You think you've got little green things growing out of your head because that's normal for you. So there was the one aspect of anger. The other part of anger was that I judged anger as wrong. I still had a lot of things about anger that was right or wrong. I mean, that was wrong and bad. And I despised people that were angry for whatever reason. It doesn't really matter why, but I had all these judgments of anger. So now what happened is if I was running anger through a lot of my life issues, whatever, although I suppressed it and tapped it down as much as I could because I didn't want to look at it because of all my judgments that I had of anger. Because if you're an angry person, then that's not cool, right? So every time I got angry, I had this judgment of me that I'm not cool. And it was like this whole conflict going on the whole time. Now I knew this energy was running through my life, and I've been trying to get to it for a long time. Anyway, it came up a couple of days ago. I'm so grateful. But I used the clearing statement to destroy and uncreate all my points of view that I had about anger. And everywhere I had decided that anger was the right thing or the wrong thing, I also realized that I loved anger because if I could get angry, I felt like I was in control. So I used the clearing statement to destroy and uncreate that. And that is the beauty of the clearing statement, is once you've got that, oh, this thing's not working for me anymore, you can then use the clearing statement to destroy and uncreate all the energy and all the points of view and all the judgments and all the decisions you've made about that particular issue. Now, I'm just going to use anger as an example because it's something that's tangible that you kind of can get a grasp of. So if I destroy and uncreate all my definitions I have of anger, all my judgments I have of anger, everywhere I've made it wrong, right, wrong, good, bad, papa, line, short boys and beyonds. If you can tap into that energy, can you get already how that relaxes and creates more ease in my world? So I don't know if you notice that. It's like, wow, okay, so now there's more peace. And when you're more at peace and when you have more relaxation, then your clarity, you can have more clarity, you can have more peace of mind, and then you can be in that space of, okay, what is going to create more for me now? Because now I know anger is not going to create for me. Anger, in the way I was using it, was destructive. And Mark, you want to ask a question? Please ask a question. You're welcome.
No, I want to ask a question. So, because you've lived with anger for so long, I don't know if that's the right statement to make, saying the clearing statements once be sufficient, or would you have to? I did a lot.
I had to do it a lot. I think I probably spent about an hour because there was so much coming up for me with it that I was just like, past lifetimes, this lifetime, every time I've used it, control, all the times I've had judgment of it, all the time I've used it to manipulate, all the time I've been angry at myself for not doing something. Because what happens is if you get angry with yourself, as we know, the thing, oh gosh, this call's going off somewhere else now. So we kind of know anger is a distractor implant, right? It's like puts you in a fog, it shuts you down. You can't make choices when you're like engaged in so much anger or whatever it is. So I used it a lot. Let me just backtrack. So yeah, I did it for about an hour. So some things, thank you for that question, because sometimes you can just destroy and uncreate it and it's gone. And sometimes you may need to do it a few times. And sometimes you might need to do it over a few days. So there's no rules when you use the clearing statement. It's like kind of you live your life. And when you hit that tension, that limitation, that invisible energetic wall that you can't seem to move around, whatever, then use this clearing statement then. Does that explain it better?
Yes.
Yeah, so every time you get that awareness, just use the clearing statement and then carry on with your life. So yeah, but in this instance, I use it a ton.
With that as well, with anger, if it can be well placed, so you can have anger to get a point across. Maybe it's not really anger then, but I'm asking because just as an example, I was doing the COP and in two different situations. One was with Gary and one was with Dane.
Yeah.
Where there was an extreme amount of anger. I actually called Sarah to look at it because it blew my mind a bit that they were actually so ugly. But it was almost they were getting a point across and then it diffused very quickly afterwards with some clarity.
Yeah.
So anger can also be a pretty good thing in a well-placed situation to get a point across. Am I right?
Yes. So perhaps what you saw there was them being potent. Because anger is actually a potency when you're using it creatively rather than as a destructive force. So if you perceive that they were being intense, that is actually a potency. And that's the thing is when you have definitions of anger, how did this end up as an anger call? Oh my gosh. So if you have some definitions of anger, and you're using anger as a distractor implant, it's actually hiding your potency. Because the thing is, when you're being potent, it's a potency and then it's gone. Anger lingers. Anger keeps you trapped in something. Anger keeps you stuck. Do you know what I mean? Where you keep on trying to reason and justify your point of view. That's when anger is being destructive and is a distractor implant. And that's where the clearing statement helps a ton, because then you can destroy and uncreate it. So that you can get to that space of relaxation.
That's why I want to take it back to the clearing statement as well, as I understand what you're saying now. So rather than not labeling it as anger, it was more a potency. But in my eyes, obviously, it's something I recognize with that anger because I could see in their faces. But I do get where you said it was a potency because they then took it straight back to the clearing statement.
Yeah.
And cleared whatever it was around what they were talking about. And that whole situation diffused, and they actually then got very productive as to the point they were trying to get and talk around and get the person back on track. And that was also, again, because of the clearing statement. So it doesn't go hand in hand.
Yeah, so that's another thing that I had to clear is everywhere I had misidentified and misapplied potency as anger, and everywhere I'd misidentified and misapplied anger as potency. Do you see how I'd swap them around? Because I want to be potent, but I'm not being potent. So I have to use anger in order to get my point across. But when you're doing it from that space of anger, people can't receive you or hear you because they have to go into defense. So these are examples of where to use. So that's the only thing to do with anger is actually to destroy and uncreate it by using the clearing statement. So the way you would do that is everything that brings up for me, because you want to get to the energy of the limitation of where you've made that decision that something is right or wrong or good or bad, because that's where the charge gets created. And the clearing statement gets to that point where you decided something, and then you can destroy and uncreate it. And the way the clearing statement works is it like takes the charge off the energy. And when the charge is off that energy, then you have the space and the capacity to move forward and to take action. All the time you're stuck in some kind of overreaction, you don't have that space to choose something that's going to create more for you. So the beauty of the clearing statement is to get you to you, so you can be in that space so that you can choose. The big C word, choose, because you can choose what creates more, or you can react to something that is not going to create more. Because when you're reacting to something, you're trying to prove something or you're trying to avoid something. And when you're trying to prove or avoid, you're not in a I'm going to say natural. I'm not sure natural is the correct word in this instance, but then you're not a natural or a neutral space, right? You're in overreaction. I've got to prove my point. My point of view is right, or no, I'm not going to do that because, you know, you're avoiding whatever. So the clearing statement is really amazing for that, to just take the charge off things. Now, here's the thing with the clearing statement is be present with it. Because the actual superpower of the clearing statement is your choice to let that point of view go. It's the choice that's the superpower. The clearing statement is getting you to that place where you can choose. If you're using the clearing statement, I'm not saying it doesn't work, absolutely it does, but you can actually really amp up the clearing statement if you are present with it and you choose. So I have to get really present with letting go of the anger. And that was quite something for me, because I'd used anger a lot in terms of getting myself, like, if I can get angry enough with myself, then I'll take action. If I can get angry with this person, I can get my point across. If I get, do you know what I mean? So I really loved the anger energy, although I despised it on the same side. You know, there's always that conflict, right, that occurs. So I loved the anger energy, because it gave me that sense that I could take action and I was in control and I can now have my power and da, da, da. But I had to get to that space to choose to let it go, no matter how much I loved anger. I have to choose to let it go. It's not creating more for me. It's not allowing me to move forward. It's not getting me to the space of where I would like to be. It's not creating more in my life. So you have to like get really like I just love that, right? If you can choose to let it go, no matter what, no matter how much you love it, no matter how much you think it's still working for you. It's like quitting smoking, right? When I quit smoking, it was the same thing. I'll go, no, I don't want to quit smoking. Smoking's my friend. I don't want to give it up. What am I going to do when I'm happy? What I'm going to do when I'm sad? What I'm going to do when I'm angry? I don't have my friend to puff on. But you have to choose at some point, knowing, for me, it was a health issue, that smoking was not contributing to me anymore, and making that choice to quit. So you can use a clearing statement to quit, give up, let go of a point of view that's no longer working for you, or an energy that's no longer working for you, or a belief that's no longer working for you. Like if you have a belief, money is the root of all evil, because that's what you've been taught growing up, that money is the root of all evil, you are not going to be willing to have money, because if you have money, you will then be evil. So if you use the clearing statement to let go of that belief, then you have space to have money. So there's lots of different ways you can use the clearing statement. If you have an identity on something, I have to be a good mom. When you have an identity, I have to be a good mom, you have a lot of definitions around what a good mom means, and then you have to judge the hell out of yourself to make sure that you're a good mom and that you meet your definitions. Use the clearing statement for that. All the identities you have about what it means to be a good mom, destroy and uncreate it, right, wrong, good, bad, pop, and short boys and beyonds. All the definitions you have of what it means to be a good mom, destroy and uncreate that, right, wrong, good, bad, pop, and short boys and beyonds. And can you notice, as you say it and get present with it, that energy relaxes and dissipates and goes away. So I've said a lot now, more than what I thought I was going to say. So I'd love to hear your perspective on the clearing statement and how you use it. That would be amazing. And whoever would like to go first can go first. Cool, Jules, go.
Hi, Jen. So interesting that you had anger come up, because I likewise also grew up in a generation very much stuck into anger. And it kind of sticks you and it triggers you and you become it. And for years, I remember I would go off on a tangent and I could never snap myself out of it. It was like autopilot. I would just like see all the shit come out of my mouth, and like I had no control. I would turn into like Hulk's mother, and it just would be unstoppable. As much as I didn't like it, I didn't want to be it, it just kept happening. And what I found when I started using the clearing statement, there was like a shift where I was able to choose, where before I couldn't choose. It was just autopilot. And that was really phenomenal for me. And again, the more you use it, the better it comes, and the more easier it comes. And I find that like now, like 10, 20 minutes, I'll go into anger, rage or whatever. but I can shift it so quick. It doesn't have to last for days, weeks, and months, you know? So that's really awesome.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Cool. Go, Naz.
You guys are talking about it and using it in a deep sense, which is awesome, awesome, awesome. But it can also be used for really simple things that just come up in your life. For example, if you're stuck in traffic and you have a point of view about the traffic, you can POC and pod. You're standing in queues at the bank, you can POC and pod. You have challenges with your kids where they're coming at you, you can silently POC and pod them. So it's like just, you know, it's just like taking your magic wand and going abracadabra. It's just amazing. Even if you don't use the whole statement, you can just go POC and pod. And it's just, if you have no point of view of what it's going to create, it's just amazing to see that the traffic starts flowing, or the queue in the bank starts moving, or your kids shut up and go away, or whatever it is. So yeah, you just can silently POC and pod everything and just create more choice and more space for the self. So it's just like, it literally is a magic wand.
Yeah, it takes you out of reaction so that you can respond to a situation and take action. Mark, you want to go?
Well, I like what Nazreen said, because I feel exactly the same. But I've got a small problem though, because Sarah,
you mean you want to use it to chase your cats away? I mean, your kids away.
Sarah POC and pods me all the time, so I don't understand what's going on. No,
Yeah.
You hit the nail on the head. It's literally, you can use it on more than you think about. If you actually start thinking about it, there's so much you can use it on.
So it's almost like you can say, if you get an emotional reaction to something, destroy and uncreate it and use a clearing statement so that you can get out. Because otherwise, I know I used to watch myself at work all the time. It's like as soon as I overreacted to an email and I responded straight away, and 9 times out of 10, by the time the person read it on the other side, it never came out the way I wanted it to. And it was like, you know, when they say sleep on it before you answer, use the clearing statements, and then, and then you can respond.
It's like that as well. But I think Rose got me the one day. We were doing one of the classes together when Crystal was here. And I was very opinionated about something, and I was fuming. And at the end of the class, and Rose said to me all the way home, interesting point of view, I have this point. And I said, I'm not going to do it. I will not do it. And I found myself driving the whole way home. Interesting point of view, have this point of view. And POCing and podding everything. So I find that the two for me go together really, really well.
Yeah, exactly.
And it works.
Cool. Who would like to share next? You're going to go next, Rose?
Yes. So I use it the way Naz does. I walk around POCing a lot.
Chasing your kids away?
Well, not to POCing myself, actually. When I find I'm going into reaction, I'm like, POC that. But interesting, the clearing statement is what got me into Access. A friend of mine sent me the video. She sent it 3 times before I actually watched it. And when I watched it, I was like, okay, I need to do a class. So that's how powerful the clearing statement is. And I knew nothing about Access up until that point. So it is one of the most amazing tools in my life. And yeah, everybody should do it.
Thank you. Who else? Naz is going again.
Just to clarify, I'm not always chasing my kids away.
She has a lot of kids, so yeah, she needs all the tools.
No, it's only 3. It's not a lot. No, it's just
3 is a lot. Whoa. As a single mom, 3 is a lot of children to bring up on your own.
Thank you.
Yeah, acknowledge.
Okay, so yeah, so just to say, it's not them that has the issue. It's my reaction to them. Just listen to this, throwing the Access tools back at me. So, okay, that's a conversation for another day, but just, yeah, just that the POC and pod gives, when you use it, it gives yourself so much ease. And I think that is the crux, my interesting point of view. That's the crux of it, that you can change things for yourself so that you have ease.
Awesome, thank you. Who's next? Laura, would you like to share? Oh, Judy wants to share first. Okay, on your marks, get set, go. Who's going first? Whoever unmutes first gets to go. Judy's up.
I use it when I find myself thinking negative thoughts about myself or what I can do. And I use it a lot when I'm driving and when things just don't go as well as I would like them to. Let's put it that way. And I use it a lot. And it certainly makes me feel a bit, it lifts my spirits more, because then I know that something's clearing somewhere, and this negative thought I have about myself is dissipating. I find it an amazing tool.
And also that's actually reminded me that when we are willing to give up a point of view, we actually clear it for up to 350,000 other people too. Because whenever you've aligned and agreed with someone or resisted or reacted to something, you've created a reality. And then that person, somebody goes and passes that onto someone else and onto someone else and onto someone else. Now you let it go at the source, it can go boom, 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 and it can release for everyone else too. And the target, one of the targets is if we can get to that space of allowance and no judgment, then we have more awareness about how we can have a different reality that's based more on kindness and nurturing and what's going to create a sustainable planet and a whole lot of other things that come with that. But if you're willing to give up a point of view, if you're willing to not be right or wrong with something, and usually, you know, when we think we've got something right, those are the hardest points of views to let go, because we think we've got it right and therefore we've got to prove we've got it right and therefore we've got it right, and often don't want to let that go. But if you're willing to give up any of these points of view, and it's not to give up a point of view, it's like you never have a point of view. Yes, you have a point of view, but it's not making about your point of view right or wrong. It's about, it's just, what am I doing? I've got an interesting point of view. Oh, well, realized I've changed tools. Anyway, okay, so everything that brought up in terms of Godzilla, let's destroy and uncreate it all. Right, wrong, good, bad, pop, puddle, line, short boys and beyonds. Okay, now I've got to, okay, that's where I was going. So if you're willing to give up the rightness or the wrongness of your point of view, you're releasing it for a lot of other people in the world too. And that's how you can contribute to a different reality, is by releasing those fixed points of view. That was so funny. My head, oh my God. Okay, who's going next? Laura.
What's pinging for me now, which I found really awesome, is you know, if you wake up in the morning and your first reaction to yourself when you're brushing your teeth is like, oh, that wrinkle, oh, I'm looking sad, or whatever, is to just go straight into the POC and POD. I find that's created a lot of space for me. I'm definitely coming more and more out of judgment of myself, my body, my surroundings, my work, what's happening, what's not happening, especially now with the whole lockdown. Everybody else is kind of freaked out, or they're not enjoying themselves, and I'm in such an awesome space. I'm loving it. I really, really, really am. Thank you, Jenny.
Thanks, honey. Who's next? The incognito people. Who would like to go first? We have Dale and Musa. I presume that's Melinda. Melinda, I think that might be you. Or, I'm going to say it wrong again, I know that, so POC and POD me when I'm done. Or Chin Chin. Anybody else?
Okay, hi Jen.
Hey, honey.
Hi, sorry, it's Dale. Hi.
Cool, go for it.
Yeah. Sorry, just in the wind. So, okay, POD and POC. Okay, POD and POC, everything that is, right, from Good, Bad, Papa, Cool, and Short Boys and Beyond. Everything that's coming up with all of this, POD and POC, all of that. So for me, it's obviously about how, you know, with our own stuff that's coming up and all the other stuff that's coming from other people that we're picking up. And I think we're also extremely aware of stuff, and often we're not even aware that we're aware of stuff. and we get very contracted and very like about it. And once one becomes aware that a lot of the stuff that's coming at you is not yours, perfect time to pot and pock all of that. Pot and pock everything that is, anything that person said, anything that I said, anywhere I reacted to that, anywhere they reacted to it, just pot and pock, pot and pock, pot and pock. So for me, apart from potting and pocking myself, which, you know, it's just like a continual loop in the head, not quite a loop, but a continual awareness of that's not mine, pot and pock, pot and pock. So for me, it works with myself, with everybody, a situation that comes up, and particularly now with this coronavirus, my goodness, pot and pock, all of that. So everything that brings up, I'm just pot and pock, pot and pock. And you don't even have to go into a story about it. You just pot and pock it, and it just gives space, and the energy changes. And that's just been, the miracle, magical possibilities that we can be and that these tools can be if we use them. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Dale. And I've heard actually Shannon O'Hara say that the clearing statement is like a consciousness wand. Because when you're conscious and aware, nothing can affect you. You will not be the effect of this reality. You won't be the effect of other people's points of views. You will know, you will have clarity and awareness of what's going to create more for you and how you would like to create your life and what you would like to have in your life. So using the clearing statement is like, it's almost like you, the infinite being, the energetic being is inside, and then all these things have covered you up, all these beliefs, all these identities, all these points of view, all the thoughts, all the feelings, all the emotions, all the judgments. And like, you can't see you amongst all this pile of gunk that you've grown up with. Now you come along with a pock and pot, and like you've got a hose pipe and you're just washing it all off, and there you are underneath. Because it's not like there's nothing wrong with us. We're not broken. We don't need to be fixed. We're just going to like, where the hell did we go? So if you're using the clearing statement and you're like washing all this stuff off, there you will be, if you're willing to give up all these beliefs and points of view and things that are not working for you. So yeah, absolutely. Cool. Anybody else have anything else that you would like to say about the magic wand clearing statement? Go, Mark. I can see on your face.
It's better than this.
Yeah, it's very difficult to talk about just one tool with Access, isn't it? Because like when you talk about it, it like leads off into all others. Like, okay, but now once you've cleared it, you've got to like, okay, now be in the question. So how does it get better than this? What else is possible? Absolutely.
Exactly.
Then you be the energy of the question. That's a whole nother conversation. Or if you're picking up somebody else's stuff, it's return to sender with consciousness attached. Or, you know, there's so many. So watch this space. I think we've got lots of videos to create.
But
just now, saying to Sarah that it was weird because you must look like you had a bit of a frustration point because the call was going in a totally different direction. I thought how but it does. It just takes on a life of its own and goes in a direction.
I know. I mean, if you really followed the energy with this, we could be on this call for 2 hours, right? Because there's so much to chat about. Yeah. So yeah, I've got to kind of like restrain my ADD tendencies and say, no, you're talking about POC and POD.
Yes, but POC and POD works with every single tool.
Yeah, I mean, all the
because
tools
you still POD and POC after you've used the other tool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So anybody else have anything else that you'd like to say?
Cool. I am
yes. Yes, honey.
I'm just left wondering whether we then have any time to just be, because I realize that it feels to me like I'm a walking magnet of all points of views, and I get stuck on others and I feel strongly and I don't want to let go. I'm right. And now I'm realizing, Lord, if I were to be focused, say, on the POC and POD statement, what else would I do in that day? Because anything that comes up needs to be cleared. And so I was thinking maybe I can just have an Easter weekend of just clearing, because there's lots and lots of stuff. And I think that I sometimes give myself a break and just be human. And then I would feel emotional and angry and huge. Yeah, I guess when one starts, it feels like a lot of practice, but I guess with time, it becomes second nature.
Yeah, exactly. It is exactly that, is to keep practicing with the tools every single day until eventually you're doing them naturally. And then also, like, if you have like a longer term view of this, is when we are totally conscious, we won't need the tools anymore, because we will be functioning as infinite beings from knowing, being, perceiving, receiving, awareness and consciousness. We won't have these thoughts, feelings and emotions and everything else, judgments and stuff holding us back anymore. So it's like practice the tools, be the tools and live the tools, and then you won't need them anymore. So that's kind of my perspective, my interesting point of view of these amazing tools. Yeah. And you know what if you do spend a couple of days just pocking and potting everything? How much space and peace and relaxation can you have at the end of the weekend? Because you're no longer charged on a whole ton of different things that probably most of it doesn't even belong to you. And it's a whole nother conversation. But it's like, if 98% of what we are aware of, 98% of the thoughts, feelings, and emotions and the energies that we are aware of doesn't belong to us, that frees up a huge amount of your day to create your life, rather than running around trying to fix everything else that you think belongs to you, which is actually not yours in the first place. I mean, if you think of just one point of view, that the money is the root of all evil, and you've never ever questioned it, it's not yours, but you're creating your reality from that belief. And that belief that you got from a parent or a caregiver or an aunt or uncle or whatever doesn't belong to them either, because they picked it up from someone else, and that doesn't belong to them either. They picked, I mean, like, seriously, we are creating our reality based on a whole bunch of lies. So now, if you can use the clearing statement to destroy and uncreate all those lies, and everywhere you've bought into the belief that those lies are true and real for you, exactly this, what would you do with your day? Because you wouldn't be running around trying to fix shit. No. Mark wants to say something. He's got his, I'm going to say something face on.
It's an interesting point of view that you then need to pock and pod and return to sender. And how does it get better than that?
There you go, all wrapped up in one. What an awesome way to finish the call. Does anybody else got anything else? Jules, please just unmute yourself and say whatever you'd like to say. Cool.
Like, if I think about judgments of myself, the amount of time I used to spend judging myself in my head about my body, about what society expects of me, about projections of others, it's insane the amount of time I used to spend. And what it reminds me of, if you go to theclearingstatement.com, I think Dane explains how, if there is a tree across the road, and basically the clearing statement can go to the seed, where you actually destroy and uncreate the seed so that that tree is never even there. And really, with regards to judgments of myself, if I think back, and I mean, I've been in Access now for just over a year that I've been using the tools, like, I don't even judge myself. So there might be some underlying stuff that pops up, and I'll pock and pod that, but the time I used to spend judging myself and the wrongness of me, it's so awesome, because those seeds are no longer. So that's really cool.
It is. And it's amazing, because now you plant that seed and that tree starts to grow. And if you're not destroying, uncreating your attachment to that seed, to that I have to keep judging myself, or I have to make this belief right, or whatever it is, you're watering that thing every day with your energy, and it's just growing into a bigger and bigger tree. So yes, get to the source, destroy and uncreate the seed, stop watering that seed, and you use the clearing statement to stop watering a seed that's not working for you anymore. And you can go and plant your tree in a different way, right? That's going to be more creative. Yeah, awesome. Thank you for that. I like it when people give me stories that I can play with. Cool. Well, so much for a 10-15 minute call. Yeah.
What I'm really enjoying and I'm finding working phenomenally is where I destroy and uncreate everything I've been up until now, especially in the morning when you wake up. And I destroy and uncreate everything I've been to my children, you know, right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And that just tends to create so much space from any projections and expectations that I have of myself from a mom's perspective, as a friend's perspective, or what I'm going to create for the day. And yeah, what could be more magic than this? Thank you, Jen.
Awesome. Yeah, and thank you for that. There was something you said that also triggered something else. Oh, yes, because the path to consciousness and finding you is about undefining who you think you are. It's not about finding more definitions and trying to define yourself more. It's about letting go of all your definitions, because as an infinite being, would you be defined and boxed in as anything? Like, no. So it's actually undefining yourself every single day. So thank you for that. The projection, destroying and uncreating your projections and expectations, destroying and uncreating your definitions of yourself, all those ways of using the clearing statement in different ways, all contributes to that. Yes, Mark.
I think it's the good and the bad, though. I agree fully with Laura. I was just saying to Sarah, one of Dane's things is destroy and uncreate everything all the time.
Yeah.
So you're almost putting on a clean slate. So even the good, the bad, whatever you have an opinion of yourself, or even if it's something you did good, start again, carry on.
Yeah, awesome, amazing. So yes, on that note, if anybody who's watching this video wants to get more information on how the clearing statement works, Dr. Dane here has done a really great video on that, and there's a free PDF download that gives you all the words. Basically, it's to take the energy of whatever you're charged on, so you can say everything that brings up, I destroy and uncreate it all, because that's the moment when you choose to let it go. Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all 9, short boys and beyond. So you can go to www.theclearingstatement.com and get information on how you can, on the words and everything that you can use for yourself. So yes, have a awesome POC and Pod day. Thank you so much, really. Thank you everybody for contributing to this.
Thank you, Jen.
And I look forward to our next one. I think we're going to do these every day if I can kind of, yeah. They're fun.
Thank you so much, Jen. This has been really great.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, Jenny.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.